mess up and want to start something over, that's no problem.
Cool.
Um, yeah. So,
And we have speed.
um, alrighty. Could you state and spell your name and title and how you'd like it to appear in the piece?
Uh, Ed Meskill,
Okay.
Jr.
How do you spell that?
Meskill.
Yeah.
First name's Ed.
Yeah.
Publisher
Mhm.
of Field Force Automation magazine.
Okay. Good. Excellent. Well, first of all, tell me, Ed, how big is this
Oof.
wireless? What space is this company in?
This company's in the space of, I would say this company's in the space of anyone who's deploying a mobile solution into the field. What companies like Dynamic Mobile Data do is they partner with the hardware and the wireless data guys, which is a huge and growing area because most companies now are able to afford the technology and the functionality to deploy a mobile solution to the field. A mobile solution being the hardware, the software, and the wireless data coverage as well. And most of this stuff is basically most of the mobile solutions that are being deployed into these corporate enterprises are basically to help their sales field service guys do their jobs better, and at the same time probably bring back an ROI to the corporation. So.
Tell me about the way that it used to be before all
Ooh.
this. Was it expensive? What did it entail?
Well, yeah, it was very expensive, but at the same time, for example, wireless data. When wireless data hit the mainstream into the corporate enterprise, prices were too high, so most companies couldn't afford it. Now that the coverage is mostly nationwide, not in all areas, but in most areas, it's more affordable for companies. And without the wireless data piece to the whole puzzle, it's very difficult to want to deploy a complete solution because when you've got service trucks out in the field, being able to access critical information at any moment is crucial. And to do that, you need wireless data coverage. What you had before was the wave with wireless voice, okay? 15 years ago, when you saw someone with a cell phone in their car, you thought he was the richest man in the world. Today, it's so affordable that everybody from a business person to the mother and father and the children have either pagers or cell phones. So as the prices have come down, the use has been enormous. What you're seeing now today is wireless data is the next big wave. To be able to access data, not just voice, but data, anywhere, any place, any time, is going to be crucial for businesses.
Why?
Because we're all moving at the speed of light. And if you're, for example, a field salesperson and you're on a call, or if you're a field service person and you're on a call, and you have access through your device, using any kind of device and using a wireless data coverage, most of the folks out in the field don't care what it is, just as long as they can view the data, the critical data that they need. If you're on a sales call or a service call, and you can see the entire history of that client, that is crucial in making the sale. And at the same time, it just makes, for example, in a field service environment, if a truck went out or a field service technician went out in the field and did his job, it would take, by the time he got back at the end of the day, it would take another 7 to 10 days for that paperwork to be sent out. But now, by hitting a few keys on his wireless device or mobile device, they can send a bill out that day or the next day. So the ROI is incredible when you have certain technologies into the fields of your field sales and your field service people.
So basically, what you said before is it's really a breakthrough.
Yeah, I think all of the technology, including the mobile devices, the wireless data coverage is a breakthrough. And what you'll see is it's going to be a big push in the businesses first. The internet and wireless data have been kind of a perfect marriage for each other because I think the wireless data was looking for something like the internet to come along, and I think the internet, will grow after the dot-bomb area. The internet will grow into the wireless data side of it being able to access critical information.
So, and is it really efficient though? Because, everyone was talking about, oh, wireless is so great, you're going to be able to do this and that, but then found that, oh, wireless was very limited.
Well, you know what? That's true, but you're not going to stop technology. And when wireless data first came onto the scene, the big thing now is us being able to access the internet over your device. Well, right now, you can't really see much, and at the same time, it's really not worth it to even do it. But as time goes on and things move ahead, I mean, it's just going to be incredible. I mean, when you think about, and really, it's really going to be driven through the business. The corporate enterprise will have to have this type of technology in their corporations to be able to survive. Because if you look at, a company that doesn't want to embrace technology, the future of this type of technology, they're going to be so far left behind. It's going to be crucial.
So how can this technology help companies? Can it help their bottom line? Can it help turn a profit where there was no profit before?
All the way across the board. It can help. It helps the ROI. It helps customer satisfaction. It helps in speeding up sales. For example, a field service technician. When I go back to the traditional company being that a field service area was more of a cost center than a profit center, that's changed. It's now a profit center because now with technology, the field technician can do more calls. More calls means more revenue by having access to data. For example, before the wireless data side of it, and maybe even wireless voice, but before the wireless data came into play, a field technician would do 1 or 2 calls, 3 calls a day. Now they're doing 8, 9, 10. Each call means more money for the corporation.
Okay, so basically, you had mentioned before we were rolling that the field service, you touched on this a little bit, but really the field service reps have become profit centers versus cost centers. Can you just kind of explain that?
Yeah, kind of what I just said, that what you've had before is you had the field service technicians that went out into the field and got they basically drove to the company, got their work orders, and then went out for the day, and then came back at the end of the day. And in that day, if they had 2 or 3 calls, they were always filling out paperwork. They had to bring it back to the front office, and the front office people had to take the paperwork and put that into the computer. But by having these technologies and wireless data coverage, they can look at the history instead of getting on the telephone, using the person's telephone to find out, hey, what were some of the problems before at this job. They can access everything right there, then and now. And at the same time, they can bill at the same time. They can upsell services depending on what type of field service or what type of corporation it is. So having these types of technologies in their hand basically gives them access to critical information, and at the same time gets them on more jobs. And what happens is the field service guy becomes a profit center for the company.
Okay, and what is your opinion of dynamic mobile data?
I think dynamic mobile data is in a very good position. This is a hot area. This is a growing area. They've aligned themselves with some great partners in this business, and they are one of the companies I think that have a lot of potential because they are looking at solving problems for corporations in both their field service and field sales areas, and by deploying their software with some of their partners is just going to help. Most companies are going to look at buying this technology to not just to spend $30 million to buy technology to be, I'm a cool company because I got technology. Most of these companies are going to buy this technology because at the end of the day, or at the end of a 6-month period, there's an ROI for this company. This is going to enhance their entire organization and at the same time hopefully make them more profits.
Okay. Just tell me, Dynamic Mobile Data is a wireless application service provider, correct?
Yes, they are.
Tell me what that is.
That's a good question. That's something you're probably going to want to ask those guys about more, being that that's their expertise.
Okay, sure.
I think you might want to ask those guys more of what the wireless application provider is. But basically, and I could kind of explain it in a weird way, but you've had the typical right side and the left side. What I think a wireless application provider can provide is most of your big software or your big ASPs or companies that bought technology were your big corporations, the ones that had the money to buy these things. What a wireless ASP, I think, can do for companies is allow them at a lower cost, even less technicians. For example, a typical company that had maybe like a Sears, they have hundreds of guys in the field. They might not have been able to afford, they can afford certain technologies from EDS and Oracle and these companies. But what companies like Dynamic Mobile Data can do with a wireless ASP is allow companies that may not have the funds to afford this type of technology by lower cost and having them house the software here. And that's kind of why I think a wireless ASP could be a winner down the road, because it allows medium to smaller size type companies to afford an ASP model. So, but I would really ask those guys.
Okay. So, do you have any statistics or anything that you wanted to tell me about? Or?
Yeah, but I probably need to grab my little thing.
No, that's okay. Yeah, why don't we just, maybe growth statistics, or pick one out of the hat.
Yeah.
You can pick a pop.
What did I say? The field service? You got that on?
Yeah, I have it on now. All right, so anytime you're ready.
Some of the stats that we see is that the field service market will increase by like 7.9 million by 2004, involving folks who are employees who will be collecting data in the field. Most of those areas are coming from all different types of vertical markets, from healthcare companies, transportation, utilities, HVAC companies, insurance companies. What you're starting to find is that a lot of these companies, besides the fact that it's also an area where they can increase profits, it's also a great way to collect data on a lot of the companies that they're talking to, which kind of is a key benefit to being able to have that type of information. So.
Tell me about, just in general, how does this really help businesses, these wireless applications? Does it help, it helps companies, from what I understand, know what jobs workers are doing, the automated vehicle location, can find out where employees are so they can route them more intelligently and provide better customer service. If you could just kind of tell me some of the benefits of it.
Well, it depends on what type of situation you're in. For example, most police forces around the country have deployed a GPS system into the cars. And what's critical about what's critical for the police departments to have that type of information? In fact, the public safety sector is one of the biggest areas of growth as far as deploying solutions. And when you think about it, if a police barracks gets a call for whatever that crime or whatever that problem is, they can immediately go on to their computer screen and know exactly the closest car to that call, without just getting on the radio and say, hey, who's down the road, who's close to this, and you got 4 or 5 guys saying, well, I'm not, I am. But when you attach a GPS unit to each police vehicle, they can get there in seconds in ways that could either save lives, or at the same time, it can help stop situations. So that's just one example of using that type of technology.
So is that what Dynamic Mobile Data uses, GPS technology?
No, they don't use GPS. I mean, apparently it depends on, again, it depends on the environment. It depends on the company. For example, Dynamic Mobile Data offers dispatch for field service companies, and they partner with different companies, of course, like the hardware guys and the wireless data guys. And a company like Dynamic Mobile Data is really not going after the public safety market. I was kind of giving you a different example, but what they're doing is basically letting companies access data, critical data, at any time, any place, anywhere, which is very beneficial to corporations to be able to do that. And yes, a lot of companies will add a GPS piece to their vehicles, so they can track it's kind of gets back to what I was talking about with the public safety, the police forces. There's a lot of companies like Sears that will put a GPS receiver into their trucks or into their into their vehicles so they know exactly where they are at all times. So, but companies like Dynamic Mobile Data, their software enables companies to be able to access critical data and at the same time allow for faster billing, allow for upselling of customers out in the field. But that's more, they go after more of the insurance type companies and things of that nature. Guys that are out in the field as far as like Allstate Insurance, companies like that.
Sure. Is there anything else that you think is important to mention about the industry, where it's going, exciting things in the future? Anything else you think that we're leaving out?
No, I think that I think we're kind of just scratching the surface as far as the growth of this area. When you look at where we were 2 or 3 years ago to where we're going to be 2 or 3 years down the road, when you look at the amount of wireless coverage in the country, when you look at the new products that are on the horizon, it's kind of mind-boggling. But I think we're kind of just scratching the surface. Personally, a lot of folks talked about how big the internet was going to be a couple years ago, and I feel that this whole mobile wireless data market is going to be bigger than probably anything out there right now. I think the wireless data will help the internet succeed in certain areas, but the potential of this market is enormous because of cost, because of having data in the hands of your field sales and field service guys is crucial for business to succeed down the road.
And just tell me briefly about, the advent of cell phones or the proliferation of cell phones and wireless devices, etc. What kind of an impact has that had on business, society, and everything?
It's both positive and negative. I personally feel a positive because, for example, I travel with a cell phone, but it never stops ringing. So it's great because people can reach me now for an important call, or if anything that's of great importance, it's great to have. For example, if I travel to San Francisco, the minute I land on the plane, like every other person that's landed on the plane, is checking their voicemail, or they're getting phone calls. So there's a positive because you're never out of touch. The negative is, my personal opinion is, it never ends, which can sometimes be a little tough. But I was going to say something in regards to that. But
I mean, it really has changed business. I mean, people are,
totally changed business. I guess one of the reasons that people use it like they use anything else, it's become a competitive advantage. If you can access, for example, a wireless phone or wireless data, if you can have access to critical information quickly, it could make the difference between you getting the sale and another competitor getting the sale. So in a way, it's benefited business. I think that companies today are embracing mobile technology into the field because they realize, I mean, when you take a poll for some of the readers that read our magazines, 99% of us says if they don't stay abreast of the technologies and embrace technology, whether it's software, hardware, or wireless technology, they don't think they'll be around much longer. And that's crucial in business. And I truly believe that one of the other things that's happened, kind of with, say, for example, a wireless phone. Today, when you go to work for a company, depending on what type of company that is, the first thing they hand you before the first thing they hand you was like a notebook. In today's world, the first thing they hand you is a laptop and a cell phone, no matter whether you're a salesperson, an executive, or a pager. So kind of it's hitting business now. I bought a cell phone, as a consumer 10 years ago. Well, I obviously don't use that phone anymore because when you go to work for a company, you use that new business phone. And that's the phone that's attached to your hip at all times, 7 days a week. So that's why in this area of the growth of this wireless data and this whole software explosion / wireless data explosion and mobile technology into the business enterprise will start here first, and then of course eventually move into mainstream.
Okay.
But you could see that it's the business side of it that's going to explode all this stuff. So.
Great.
Anything else?
I think we got it. So if you could state and spell your name and title and how you'd like it to appear.
All right. Henry Hardy, Executive Vice President of Business Development at Logisticare.
Okay, great. And how do you spell Logisticare?
Logisticare.
All right. And Henry, just remember, you're going to just be looking at me, not the lens.
Okay.
Just pretend, and these people don't exist.
Right. Okay.
So first of all, tell me, what does Logisticare do?
We're a transportation management company specializing in medical transportation and the transportation of disabled people.
Okay, so
Yeah.
why are you using dynamic mobile data?
Okay. In the transportation management business, obviously, logistics is the name of the game. Being able to efficiently move people all about, and being able to know where people are at all times, being able to make adjustments in transportation routes and things like that in real time, and also being able to capture lots of detailed information about the outcome of scheduled trips for our clients and for our own management purposes. It's really important to know where people are on time, where they were supposed to be. This is important for managing quality control, for managing your reporting responsibilities, and for generally providing a first-class service. And the kinds of technology that DMD offers us greatly increases our ability to track our vehicles and to really report on the outcomes of our service.
So has it helped you?
We are actually in the process of implementing our first contract with DMD. We across the country, we provide thousands of trips a day, for our different clients. We are not actually a transportation company ourselves. As a transportation management company, we actually get the work delivered by managing networks of transportation companies. And in Georgia and Connecticut and Washington, D.C. and California, we manage hundreds of these companies. So we actually have big plans for rolling out, employing different kinds of devices under contract with DMD over the next year and a half, 1,000, 2,000 units. But right now, our initial installation is going on in the Washington, D.C. area, about 160 units, and we're still in the final phases of testing that. So we haven't really put it fully to use. But our client's very excited about the possibility. It's going to...
Who's the client?
It's the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority.
So Logisticare is not just for medical transport, but you deal with all different industries?
Yeah, all different kinds of transportation, of logistical problems that were solved for people, and all in the transportation of people. But in the Washington, D.C. area, for example, we are transporting disabled people who can't access the regular public transit system. And it's our job to run a door-to-door service for these people and get them where they need to go for all kinds of purposes, not just medical, get them to work, that sort of thing. So it's very important that people have a reliable reservation system, that we have as much control as possible over the actual drivers at all times. And typically, in a normal operation, you might have two-way radio communication with the driver. That doesn't really tell you exactly where the driver is, and it doesn't really allow you to capture data easily. The driver's usually keeping manual logs of when he's arriving places and when he leaves. And unfortunately, there's sometimes a data quality problem on a manual system like that. With this kind of technology that DMD provides, we have real-time knowledge of exactly where the drivers are. Every important event in the transportation trip is recorded in the terminal, in the vehicle, by the driver, and through wireless technology, it comes live back to our dispatch center. So when somebody is picked up, when they get on the vehicle, we employ a card swipe technology, so there's no question about who the person is that's being picked up. There's just quite a lot of good information that then is immediately made available to our management databases for us to view in real time and give very accurate responses to riders if they call up wondering what's the status of their trip. If the trip is running late, we already know it. The system would flag in advance when somebody seems to be behind schedule, so we can proactively do something about it and not have to wait till we hear from a rider expecting a ride that the vehicle hasn't shown up. So what this does, it really kind of is a new gear. You know, it really allows us to run a much tighter ship, more efficient operation, a higher level of quality, and get much better data than we've had before, you know.
Great. And so it really seems like, and it's also, is it more affordable than previous technology, or?
Well, it's one of the, like some technology, it involves an initial investment, but it saves you money in other ways. Now, we went with DMD for a variety of reasons, some of it having to do with the cost, you know, it's an affordable system, but also just the technical capability of what they're trying to do. And a particular thing that we liked about DMD was the flexibility that they offered us. And in a nutshell, what this means is the software that they provide is independent from the actual wireless network that they use in an area and from the actual unit, whether it's handheld or mounted in the vehicle, that we may be using. So that gives you lots of flexibility. And for us as a company who are operating in different market areas with different kinds of wireless coverage, different contracts that might have different kinds of demands, it was very attractive to us to think about working with a company that we could have different configurations with in different parts of the country and still have one set of software, you know, the integration of our software and our database software with their wireless system doesn't have to change. So that was very appealing to us. Also, just within an individual contract, the client may decide to have greater functionality in the system. For example, our DC client has suggested that down the road they may want to use smart cards that actually allow the billing process to happen when the rider gets on the vehicle. With DMD, there was the flexibility to kind of make changes in the system later and enhance the system without having to, you know, get wholly new units or whatever. So we really liked that kind of flexibility that they offered. And where it saves you money sort of on the back end. It saves you money in staff that you no longer need as many people, for example, to enter data off of paper records that are coming in from the drivers. It enhances your reporting capability, so this becomes less costly. Clearly, if you're getting much better data from the field, then you don't need to spend money on field monitors who are actually out there trying to physically see if your drivers are reporting accurate information from the field. So it's an investment up front that saves you costs in other aspects, other areas of your operation, and that's the way we see the finances of this kind of thing.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.